first of all, we're so excited to have all of you here today. And, we hope, hey, I see it. Shout out to Tyler. Hey, Tyler Halliburton here in the spaces. Thank you for joining us. It's awesome. So again, we hope to answer all the questions that were posted in the AMA on Discord over the next hour. There also will be a recording of this Twitter Spaces for people that could not join live. We'll be posting that to our Discord channel. But let's go ahead and dive in. First, I want to quickly introduce myself and my co-founders. My name is Amanda Terry. I'm one of the co-founders, Chief Operating Officer, and moderator for today's AMA. My background is in business development from Twitter, NBC, and Newstar, and I've been investing in...
Hey, OCM Monkeys. Hey. How is everyone?
Hey, Danny. Do you want to say hi to... I think I want to apologize. I think I said the wrong person who joined, so I want to actually give a shout out to Tyler Hinton.
It's actually Tyler Harvey. Hey, Tyler.
Oh. Hey, Amanda. I think you're breaking up.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm gonna keep going, and Danny, Bill, tell me if you can't hear me.
I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, great. And it is Tyler Harvey, and I apologize. We welcome. Hey, hi. I see your hand. So thank you. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and dive in. Again, I've been investing in early stage tech companies. I've known Bill for about 9 years and helped to run community for his nonprofit Act High Global. And I want to say hey to Danny Yang. Do you want to say hi, Danny? Hey, Danny. All right.
I see Danny on mute.
Co-founder. Yeah, he's my co-founder and CEO of Infinita, which we are working on the website fast and furiously. That should be rebranded by next week to Metagood, Metagood. He's also the technical genius that created OnChainMonkey. For those of you that have not looked him up on LinkedIn yet, his background is pretty incredible. He previously founded MyCoin, which is Taiwan's largest cryptocurrency exchange. So think kind of the Coinbase of Taiwan. He also founded Blockseer, which is a blockchain analytics company he sold in 2018. And Bill Tai, who is also on with us today. Hey, Bill.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Hey. Thanks for letting me be here.
He invested in both of Danny's previous companies, so they also go back probably over 8 years. And Bill had met Danny at the Stanford Bitcoin meetup that Danny had founded back in 2013. So yes, Danny is really kind of an OG crypto guy, as is Bill, who is our third co-founder and chairman. I like to refer to him as Yoda because he's incredibly thoughtful in his guidance and he's always fighting for the good guys. He was the first investor in Zoom and a seed investor in Wish, Canva, Dapper Labs, and over 20 companies that are publicly traded today. So, with this track record, he's obviously seen a lot, and we are super honored to have him on board with the company. The agenda today is as follows. We've gone through all of the questions that were in Discord, and we're going to try to do our best to cover everything. If there are any outstanding questions, feel free to send a DM to any of us after this. So we're going to give, an overview of OnChainMonkey. I'm sure there's some people who probably just joined Twitter Spaces and was like, what is this OCM thing? I tweeted our mission and values. We'll talk about that and some of the differentiators of our collection. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the benefits to holding an OCM beyond our awesome community and folks that are on here today. We'll talk about our roadmap. We also want to explain what Metagood is. We brought that up on Friday's AMA, but for some people who don't know, we'll talk about Metagood, which is a marketplace for NFTs that have charitable components that are basically doing social good. And we'll talk about how that marketplace benefits the OCM community. And finally, if any of your questions didn't kind of fit into that framework, we'll just walk through them one by one. So let's get started. Danny, can you start us off with, a little description of what OnChainMonkey is and maybe talk to us a little bit more about the mission and values?
Absolutely. And yeah, hey monkeys and monkey friends. Yeah, really looking forward to getting to know everyone over the coming weeks. And well, first, it's only been 2 weeks since we launched, so it's been pretty incredible the last 2 weeks. So let's get to it. So OnChainMonkey, how did it start? What is it? Well, it started when we basically one part of it is it started with an experiment where we wanted to create a PFP NFT collection, personal photo pic collection, and it's and we want to do it on chain. So let me explain what on chain means. So on chain, so on the blockchain. So first, why do we even care about these PFP collections and NFTs? Well, because this blockchain thing is something that really has long life, right, and it's very secure. So things on the Ethereum blockchain, it's immutable, lives there for a long time. So we want to create these things, these new digital artifacts and assets that we call an NFT. And so on chain is whatever is actually on the the mainnet Ethereum chain. And so for your typical so many NFTs and PFP NFTs, the NFT, the asset is created on chain, but then in the PFP you also have an image, the JPEG. People are saying, oh, you're buying a JPEG for however much money. That JPEG often is not on the chain itself. It's actually stored off chain in another file storage somewhere, from something like Amazon or Google cloud, or IPFS, which is a decentralized distributed file store. You have different levels of kind of security and permanence for these different storage file storage systems. And so, I mean, the most secure would be actually on the mainnet chain. So that's what I mean by on chain. And so actually, most often not stored on chain is usually stored on a different system like IPFS. So for this collection, OnChainMonkey, we want the images all stored on chain, and also there's metadata usually with PFP collections. The metadata describes the NFT, the image. Metadata might be like this image, your face looks like this, or you're wearing a certain hat or certain clothes. So all that data is also on chain. So this is what we mean when we say OnChainMonkey is on chain. All this data, the metadata, the images are on the Ethereum mainnet blockchain. And so it makes it very secure, right? And so why does everyone do that? Like why are most NFTs not on chain? It's because that it's very expensive to put things on chain. So like a typical JPEG of many of the NFTs out there, that JPEG, when you look at the file size of it, like when you download it and you like open the file and look at the details, the file size is 20, 30, 50 kilobytes, maybe even more, right? It could be a megabyte. It could be very big. Storing that data on chain is quite expensive. So let me give an example for OnChainMonkey. The contract, the code that created the whole collection of 10,000 OnChainMonkeys was around 10 kilobytes. So the entire collection was created in basically a little program that is smaller than the size of your typical JPEG image, which is a single NFT of how many of the other NFTs are done. So 10 kilobytes is actually smaller than if you just wrote out the numbers 1 to 10,000, like you wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all to 10,000, and stored that on a file. That's bigger than 10 kilobytes. So it was challenging, right, to create this collection of 10,000, in basically a small contract, small size, and that we could basically create in one transaction, so one Ethereum transaction. So basically, our distinction first for OnChainMonkey is that all the monkeys are on chain, and they were done in one single Ethereum transaction. And so that prior to this project had never been done before for a PFP collection. And all the rarities, the distribution of the different 10,000 monkeys, right? It's all in that transaction. So that was what's unique for this particular project on the technical side. And we think that many more projects will start doing this type of thing of doing it all on chain and in very small size. And we think that's great because that also in line with being basically being efficient, kind of going to our values. And I'll talk more about our values in a little bit. Else. So we talked about the collection itself.
Hey, I want to chime in just to say I'm a very proud investor and co-founder and chairman of this little company, and that technological first that Danny was talking about. It's the one of many firsts that this company hopes to produce. I think we've got very strong talent around the company, and I think because of the way this project was created, I can see potentially other applications coming from this methodology where you're not trying to jam a lot of stuff, but you're really doing it algorithmically in a very, very efficient way. And I think it's credit to the quality of people around this project. And I think for you, our community, to be part of it, you guys basically have a little piece of history in this. So I think it's significant. So I just wanted to say that, Danny. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Bill. And I know we kind of talked about being technological pioneers, but Danny, can you talk about? I know we've kind of mentioned this in the Discord, but that we want to do experiment also with community building and social causes.
Right.
Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah. So actually, my mic or audio is going in and out, so I'm not sure if I'm getting everything through. But I want to bring up one more point for on what Bill just said on the kind of the this is like the small size or the compression of this data, but also this artwork. So often NFTs, it's artwork. You're drawing, even though many collections like BFE collections, it's computer generated, right, collections. But there are different ways to do computer generation. You can hand draw a lot of different artworks and then computer combine them, right, to create a bigger collection. In this case, to achieve the very small size and single transaction, even the individual pieces of artwork are all actually computer code. So so instead of drawing a circle, right, or drawing the mustache, you have to program. You program it so that it's really the palette being used is writing some code to create this, and so I think more people start doing this type of thing too, and I think it's a different type of I think art or different way to draw. So not just hand drawing, but writing code to draw it. Okay,
I just wanted to say, if anyone hasn't read yet, Danny did an awesome Medium post called "The Making of OnChainMonkey." He posted it on the 16th of September. It's like a 9-minute read, but it kind of talks a lot about the creation and some of the challenges he ran into in creating the collection. So for anyone who kind of wants to geek out and really understand what it took, it has some cool earlier phases of the pictures as well. So check that out on Medium. Again, it's Danny's Medium post on the making of OnChainMonkey from September 16th.
So this is just background really for basically what OnChainMonkey is now, right? This is community. I mean, so we were just describing kind of the transaction that seeded this, but everything that happened after, right? That's I think really the amazing part. Where so first, just the nature of this launch. So I launched it 2 weeks ago on a Saturday, September 11th, and I actually didn't tell anyone I was doing. I mean, Bill and Amanda didn't even have a heads up that I had launched it. So basically, I launched it, and then I tweeted and told. I kind of spread it and said, hey, this is, I just did this, check it out. Do you think it's interesting? And kind of the next 2 weeks, right, where we are today was this community building this community that formed around it really, was one big experiment that has been going pretty well. Where I think we've grown organically a very I think aligned community to do good, and I think we can basically actually achieve kind of things we want to do in the future. And I think the people who were around that first day, right, when this was launched, it was basically over 1,000 people joined a new Discord server, and then it was pretty much chaos, and then kind of order just started. Like we basically we kind of just formed, and then there was gradual order, and we're still working on this order. I think after this today's AMA, I mean during this week and the next week, we're going to be making also some improvements to the Discord and moving around some of the channels. I think things are still a little bit confusing, especially for new people coming in who just suddenly go to our Discord. It's not clear, and also in our website, also many things are not clear. We haven't, so we'll launch basically a new website that describes basically our values, our mission, our history, and the things we plan to do in the near future. Let's see.
Great, and let's talk a little bit about we talked about this community that's formed, and we've been taking a lot of feedback from the community, and we discussed over the last kind of week, like what's the mission of all of this? Like, why are we doing this, and what are some of the values that we hold? Danny, do you want to talk about that, or should I?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Sure. Okay,
yeah,
that's right. So let me just tie it into to kind of all the things we've talked about so far to basically our values and our mission. Well, I mean, the mission is to empower communities to drive positive collective action in a low friction way, and basically the four values that we stand behind are respect, integrity, sustainability, and experimentation. And kind of these go with how we formed too, right? I mean, the whole thing started with an experiment. We wanted to create, use technology in a sustainable way. Keep the transactions small, don't store too much on the blockchain. And we are known people doing this. We try to do things with respect and integrity. Our reputations are out in the open here for everyone to see. And so then let's go through kind of some of the key things where we are so far with OCM. So we talked about how the release date, it was 2 weeks ago, September 11th. There are 10,000 tokens. So there are questions about some of these details with the release. So there were 9,500 that were minted for free on the release date, September 11th. There are 500 that were held back. And so those are going to be used, for driving value for the OCM community in the future, for charity auctions, for giveaways, and also for the company reserve. The royalty fees are 10% on OpenSea, and we're going to basically split that between basically the community. So we'll have a community pool that will be used to fund community projects, and that'll be until we collect 800 ETH for the company. We will be splitting that 20% for the community and 80% for the company. And then after we hit the 800 ETH, then it'll be 50-50 between the community and the company as we continue building this. And so we'll be funding community projects, and we'll explain kind of how we'll go about deciding what are the projects to work on. And let's see what else. Token type is ERC-721. I think that most people know that. And yeah, it's all on chain, so there's no file hosting for these NFTs.
Yeah, actually, let me chime in also. 2 points. One is about kind of how the economics can work to do good for people and planet going forward, and then one quick comment about this on-chain thing. So probably all of you have heard the phrase, if you don't own your keys, you don't own your crypto. And obviously that refers to like, can you access the block where your crypto is stored, so to speak. In this case with the NFTs, one of the ways to look at this, the on-chain part of it, is that if you're your JPEG or the image itself is actually not on the chain. You might have the block that is the address of that place. So think of like a web page and IP address. You might have the URL and the IP address pointing to a page somewhere else, but if somebody swaps that page out, it's still in that address. So it doesn't have the permanence of actually taking the whole thing and sticking it on the chain. So that's one of the another way to look at what Danny's describing as a value of being on chain. And then to what we want to do with kind of like weaving in even more the community and developing our community. So actually, and one little fun fact that my co-founders may not even know. Years ago, in the mid-90s, I was one of the founding investors in a company called Transmeta. And we had a wonderful, wonderful engineer working on our compiler. His name was Linus Torvalds. And I just marveled at the ability of an army of really smart people working on really cool projects that ultimately became Linux and the Linux Foundation. It was already called Linux then, but there's just an amazing energy when people want to contribute to a common cause. And in that case, part of it was like making cool stuff. Part of it was dethroning Microsoft, but it was just, it was a cause-based thing. And then clock forward years later, I worked on two other open source movements. One became IP Infusion as a company expressing it, the other Treasure Data around Hadoop. But this project and the values that Danny talked about stemmed a little bit from an action that you can read about on our website. But we took when I had funded Dapper, I asked them to create a special edition cat, which we auctioned off and gave the proceeds to Captain Paul Watson to do a turtle protection thing. And so it's that energy that Danny and crew have instantiated in the OnChainMonkey project. And so as we generate some capital from the transactions in the marketplace that are coming to the company, one of the things that I literally just had a lunch with an attorney to try to figure out how to set up a foundation. And where it's all a moving, it's in process. We don't have it all defined yet, but as Danny's talking about proceeds coming to the company, we want to segment some of it that goes into a pool that can go to fund people that are working on cool projects that help foster, either new technologies or additions to the platform or things that make what all of us are doing together more valuable. So that's part of the initiative here. There is that set of monkeys that didn't get released. We want to hold those to do a couple things, presuming that this company does well, and you never know, but we're going to try. Presuming the company does well, we would like to use those as the price rises on the NFTs that are floating out there in the marketplace. Every once in a while, we may be able to auction one of those off or contribute them to a charity, and then have them take the proceeds to fuel good causes. And then on the flip side, in the case of yet another crypto winter, and we all lived through a pretty harsh one in like 2017, 2018, in such case that somehow this company runs out of money, it's nice to have a few of those in reserve. Maybe they won't, have a high price or anything, but if we need to make payroll, it's nice to have a little bit of cushion so that this group of people working on the community that you're all part of can continue to have support on like driving all these fun things that we're doing. So that's part of what we want to do with the reserve, and also the stream that's coming in from the sales on different exchanges. Thanks, Danny.
Thanks, Bill. So I want to talk more about the bananas. So we started this off-chain banana business about a week ago, and so we want to continue this experiment with bananas of, giving each other off-chain bananas. So I want to outline the current thinking of where basically bananas or this banana business is going. So first, so we're going to keep doing off-chain bananas, and we're also going to allow monkey holders to basically, receive off-chain bananas based on how long they've held their monkeys. So if they've held their monkeys for a month, then they'll get, for each of their monkeys, one off-chain banana each day. If they held it for 2 months, they'll get 2 off-chain bananas each day, and 3 months, 3 off-chain bananas each day, and after that, it will be 3 each day. If you sell or move your monkey, then it resets back to 0, and you have to wait another month and so on. So also you can also pick bananas each day. So every 4 hour window, you can go to Discord and pick a banana, just like you've been doing by eating bananas. Same mechanism. And so when you get these bananas each day, once either through your monkey or by picking it, then what can you do with them? Why do you care? Well, I mean, the bananas are how you vote for things, how you recognize people, and so we're going to talk more about Metagood moments in a bit too. And basically, to vote on who can get a Metagood moment, you use bananas. To vote on community projects and what gets funded, you use bananas. So the bananas are basically our kind of in Discord currency that we're using to establish votes and communicate our what we want done as a community. Okay, so that's bananas. Now the Metagood moment. So we introduced this last I guess on Friday. So this will be a new collection that is started within the OCM community, and basically it's released at a rate of at most 1 a day. And so each day we potentially could create a Metagood moment to recognize a good deed or something noteworthy done by our community, OCM. And so these and who gets to pick them will be basically all of us can nominate our peers or basically nominate anything that we think is worthy, and then those will be voted on by bananas. Like people giving bananas to those, and we'll keep track of those. And then if they reach a certain threshold, there will be basically a committee that reviews the finalists and then will award Metagood moments. And this NFT, we're looking for a generative artist to create the actual artwork for the Metagood moment, and the artwork will be the generative side, the inputs, the seed for these artworks will be basically the recipient's monkey DNA from their token. And also, because these are going one at a time, like each day, it forms a chain, right? So Paladin gets the first one, the buyer of the auction gets the second one, and then someone else will get the third one. So when you create the subsequent moment, it takes both the kind of DNA of the recipient and also takes the DNA of the previous, or the mixed DNA of the previous Metagood moment and combines those. So basically you have this inheritance cost. So first you have the stamping of the winners onto the chain of Metagood moments. Then you have the inheritance from all the previous moments, and it forms a chain, right? That goes through time, and it'll go one at most 1 a day, and kind of form this chain that can't go on forever. As long as we have our community going, we can recognize outstanding individual and deeds done by the community. And then there was a good question in our AMA questions that, we want to encourage more, incentivize more moments. Why just limit to 1 a day? So OCM is the Genesis community, right? That for this whole project of Metagood that we're doing, and we'll be launching new communities that also for cause communities that want to do good things. And so when a new community splits off, they'll also fork this Metagood moments. So OCM will continue their path, their Metagood moments chain, and then the new community will have a fork of Metagood moments. So when they go, they can keep adding 1 a day too to their fork. But if they go back in time, right, you'll see the genesis of these Metagood moments all comes from OCM. So.
Hey, Danny, let me interrupt. You know what I love about this? This reminds me of the very, very early days of crypto, like when you would have to explain to somebody, what's a blockchain? Well, it's a chain of blocks of information. And in the case of Bitcoin, it's like a 10-minute block that captures all the transactions in Bitcoin that happened in the last 10 minutes. In the case of Ethereum, it's like 10 to 13 seconds or whatever it is, And what this is creating is basically a new set of blockchains that in the original Metagood moment thing, that the block is a 1-day block. and it's a special moment by somebody in this community. And there's this concept of the forking or the branching, and everyone's probably heard about, like the Bitcoin forks and the Ethereum forks and all that. So this is the ability for this community as the Genesis community for doing good, which is why it's called Metagood as a company. And then, the monkeys are the original Genesis community. There'll be kind of a blockchain of good moments with a 1 day periodicity. And for other things that are really cool, there can be any branch that are kind of forks of good things happening with whatever periodicity other people want to decide in that fork off of the main thing. But all of the folks here, you guys are like in the main Genesis block of the community. So thank you.
Very cool. And for people that weren't on the Twitter AMA last Friday, what we're talking about is there's actually a OnChainMonkey number 6410. If you go to OpenSea, that one of our community members, Pollyann, basically P with I guess it's a 0 LYN, donated for charity. So last Friday we had a Twitter Spaces with Chris Fabian, who runs the GigaConnect project, which is bringing internet connectivity to schools globally. It's an awesome project supported by UNICEF, ITU, the Elon Musk Foundation, Dubai Cares. A lot of people very interested in kind of closing the digital divide globally. And so he's donating his OnChainMonkey. This auction ends on Wednesday, September 29th at noon Pacific. And basically what, our initial Metagood moments will go to both the person that donated it, Pollyann, as well as the winner of this auction. So, we're going to repost in our Discord and also Twitter, just reminding people, remember 100% of the proceeds for this are going to go to good cause, GigaConnect. So hope everyone can hop on, take a look, and get the cute little naked monkey that's number 6410. I'll let you keep going, Dan.
And be the Genesis block of the Metagood moments chain.
Yeah, basically be one of the history makers, one of these early holders of the Metagood moments.
Going back to, so I'm reading the Discord and I see lots of questions on bananas. So we'll talk more about how the bananas work, what these off-chain bananas, how do you know how many you have? Do they expire? So they'll expire after 1 week. It won't be expiring after a day like they are now. So, but they will expire. So it will be a weekly thing. The bananas all expire each week, but you can build it up over the week and submit your votes during that week. And we'll be building tools that you can see your banana counts and see what's getting voted on by bananas and so on.
So Danny, it's a little bit like universal basic income with a fuse, right? So it's like use it or lose it, with your currency being the banana, and we're going to create an economy that basically rewards good behavior and good action. Keep going, Danny.
Okay, I think for some reason my connection is still choppy. Sometimes I don't hear anything. But so we can talk about Metagood too. So there are questions about how Metagood relates to OnChainMonkey. So Metagood is this platform with a marketplace, and that's something we're building. And when it's ready, then monkey holders will be able to also use it. They have early access to it. They can trade their monkeys on our platform with basically low fees, and we're launching new NFT collections on there. So monkey holders will have early access to those, and we'll talk more about kind of some of the upcoming projects that will be going on the Metagood platform, in the coming weeks.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying, basically being part of the OCM community and owning one of these monkeys, you're kind of reinventing this new giving economy, right? Where, we're creating new ways to create value for good. I think, Danny, we're going to probably also have some private channels in Discord for OCM members. I know we've talked a lot about participation in online and in real life events. As a community, we'll be going to some of the major NFT conferences that are coming up now that COVID's ending. Hopefully we can do some more things in person, not just on Zoom or on Twitter Spaces. And do you want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned, kind of Metagood, the marketplace, but, how does that benefit OCM community members? How does that work? Like, what's the relationship between the Metagood marketplace and OCM holders?
Sure.
Actually, can I chime in here again, Amanda?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't want to use a as mercenary and mundane analogy as Morgan Stanley and IPOs, but think of like in that world of brokerage, you have a firm that gets the best companies like Zoom and others that go public, and the clients of Morgan Stanley basically get early access because they're able to buy into these IPOs, right? And if you look at where Metagood Company sits right now, there is a giant backlog of really interesting causes and charities and cool groups of people that want to do things that are kind of ESG and cause-based, that have this emotive content where by participating, you're actually doing some good for the world. At a time when every public company is looking for how do they explain to their shareholders that they're like ESG compliant and doing something good for this planet, right? So to the extent that we remain in this sort of premier position where we've got organizations like we're working with, like the UN and UNICEF, or whoever all these folks are that we may do these campaigns with, if any of these collections that we do for these folks turn into like really, really great, strong movements, then I think the original OCM community, you guys will have early access to this stuff. And like you did, there are a bunch of people that basically came to the launch of the monkeys and claimed them for free. And I don't know what they trade for now, but they're worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I think to the extent that there are really cool projects coming down the pipe, the OCM community, if you guys are part of it, and you are, and you have probably visibility into some of that stuff, and you'll be able to tell yourself, like, if you're a client of Morgan Stanley, you don't buy every IPO, but you buy the ones that you think are pretty cool. And I think there'll be ESG compliant efforts that are really meaningful that I think the NFTs are going to do really great. And just up to you guys to choose. And I'll quit there. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. In the questions, there are also many questions about marketing. So we'll address some of that too. I mean, because we had this very unusual launch where we didn't do any marketing. In fact, I barely told anyone of our launch. And so we will do some marketing because we do want to spread awareness, right, of what we're doing. And so one of the things we have planned is, we have Luis Cejoyos is an advisor to us. And so he's an Oscar-winning director. He directed The Cove and a number of really great documentaries, and so he and his team at Projecting Change, so Chris Lejeune and Travis Threco, they do these projections. And Amanda, do you want to talk about the projections they've done in the past? I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah. So as Danny mentioned, I mean, Louis, and we're actually going to be watching out because we're going to do another Twitter AMA with Louis. But yeah, he was the Oscar-winning director of The Cove, Racing Extinction, Game Changers. If they're all Netflix films, if you've seen them. He also used to be a Nat Geo photographer. So he and his two business partners were asked by, they were invited to do a series of projections on the Empire State Building in 2015. So if you Google Projecting Change, Empire State Building, they were basically raising awareness of the mass extinction of animals around their film, and beautiful images were projected up on the Empire State Building. Then, they got a call literally from the Pope, and the Vatican asked, can you do similar projections on the Vatican? And so I think they've gotten something like over 5.4 million media views between those two projections that they did back in 2015.
Well, I think it was billion. It was billion,
sorry, did I say
right?
million? Sorry, I meant 5.4 billion. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, if you Google Projecting Change in either Empire State Building or Vatican, I mean, Time Magazine, CNBC, New York Times, all the major publications and local news stations covered it. So and just even go to Vimeo. There's a couple really cool videos that show those projections. They were just approved by the United Nations to do a series of projections during the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP26, which is coming up November 5th in Glasgow, Scotland. So there's an incredible building called the Armadillo Building. And they, for one night, will be doing a series of projections to with famous photographers to basically inspire 1 billion people to think about the climate change crisis. And we're working with them. We'll be kind of the sole marketplace and platform for them to NFT some of those works. So it's going to be really cool, both live projections on this building that there'll be a series of people that will be able to own those projections.
And also, so they're quite busy, but they've agreed for us, for OCM, for us monkeys, to over the next couple of weeks, they're going to go around the San Francisco Bay Area and at kind of iconic buildings in the Bay Area project some of our monkeys. And so we'll decide. So we'll basically use bananas to kind of decide, whose monkey gets projected. Like if you want your monkey projected on, some cool building in the SFA area, basically, yeah. If you have enough banana votes for your monkey, then we'll project those. And if this goes well and there's enough interest in these kind of projection events in cities, we can do that all over the world. We can have, because Louis and his team, they specialize in these projections. We could do it like name your city wherever in the world, and then we'll get those projections going there. Amanda, do we want to run over some more of the questions? I think there are a bunch.
Yeah, I'm just looking through. I think we covered a lot. A lot of people were asking, what's incentives for long-term holding. You covered a lot of that around some of the bananas. We talked a little bit about marketing. Obviously, we haven't done a ton to date. We've been interviewing agencies. Let's talk a little bit about hiring, Danny. We have posted in our Discord and Twitter. We've been getting people just personally on our LinkedIn, but we are definitely looking for awesome community managers. So, people that are crypto savvy, used to working on Discord, Twitter. We probably need people in different time zones to communicate with the community, to surface ideas from the community to us, and basically kind of be like a press secretary for the OCM community. So we're looking for someone awesome, or a few people there. So if anyone is interested in that, please reach out to us. We're actively interviewing people for community manager. We're also looking for a role we're calling general manager, which is, as Danny mentioned, for Metagood, we have a long line of creators and nonprofits that want to launch on our platform. We have some that are already lined up kind of now through end of January, but each of those require some work in terms of helping them design their collection, thinking about the economics of it, helping them figure out how do you make this collection tradable, or is this going to be a one of one? Obviously, there's legal work, marketing work. So we just want people that are, general kind of super smart athletes that can work with us and organize to, work with some of these large clients to make their collection a reality. So that's the general manager role. We'll definitely be hiring a few of those. Danny, do you want to talk about the technical side, what you're looking for from a dev perspective?
Really, all around good developers, also passionate about our cause. So reach out to me if you're interested. So Amanda, what other questions? I think we can do some more. We still have some time here.
Yeah, there was a question, what other charities are we working with? Which I'm happy to. Should I take that one? I can take that one.
Yeah, please do.
So we talked about Louis Sohoyos and Projecting Change. That will be, around the November timeframe during UNCOP. We've been also talking to a really cool artist out of Paris, which is called Elyx, ELYX, and they're actually the first and official digital artist for the United Nations. So they're going to be launching a collection around the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And they have this little character, Elix, who is just very fun and will be in kind of basically inspiring people and educating them about the SDG goals. So we've been working really closely with them and really exciting, kind of helping them think through, okay, what should rarity traits look like? How do they, promote trading of these collections? So that's another one that we'll be launching with. We'll be featured at FlowFest, which is October 15th, which is Dapper Labs user conference. And so just be on the lookout for that. And then, we're talking to, like I said, I mean, I shouldn't probably mention names, but because if we're not contracted yet, but there's, like I said, a long list of charities, everything from ones that support other animal conservation causes to climate change, mental health awareness, social justice, some really cool foundations and nonprofits that are working with, and also creators. So Louis brought us a very famous National Geographic photographer who's launching a new book of photographs. He wants to donate causes to causes in Afghanistan, so very timely stuff. So we're working with him on figuring out, okay, how can you take some of his traditional photography and turn that into interesting NFTs? So that's another project that we're working closely with.
Wonderful.
And we'd love also to open up. So the community has also been reaching out. So we've been getting DMs and emails from people that are involved with various causes or know certain creators. So and we definitely welcome that. So keep reaching out to us on that type of stuff.
Thanks, Amanda. Great. Well, I think we covered a lot. I think we'll probably close with one final thing of kind of this idea we had that because of what Twitter kind of announced, with how they might be supporting PFP verification, which is really cool, right? We can all get verified with our PFP. So we want to kind of encourage more more companies to support PFP and NFTs. I mean, basically it's like this. These are very useful and powerful things that we're dealing with. So the idea we had was and we also all work remotely and we're online, right? Like what is the metaverse, right? It's really like what we're doing on Discord and Twitter every day, but also over Zoom. So the idea we had. What if we can convince Zoom to also allow us to verify our PFPs in the background, right? So when on Zoom calls, right, I can have my monkey in the background and I know it's verified as me, right? So basically, Zoom is also the metaverse, and so then here.
Yeah, let me chime in on that too, because I was literally with Eric Yuan, who founded Zoom. Well, some of you guys know I was the first backer to commit to fund Zoom, and we had a lot of tough years in the beginning because the people that I asked to fund would say, "Are you kidding me? You're going to compete with Microsoft and Google with free products? Are you kidding me? You're such a dummy." Anyway, Zoom's kind of worked out, but a couple weeks ago, I was hanging around with Eric, the CEO, and we were talking about metaverse. And I said to him, because this was like 3 or 4 days before Facebook launched their metaverse thing with the Oculus Rift thing. And I said, Eric, if you remember Lawyer Cat, they came on to Zoom, with the and you could, if you guys remember that story, there was I think a lawyer that came on to a Zoom meeting, and his kid had installed the Snapchat camera on the device, and so he came in as a cat to the court, and there's that famous little clip of him saying, I'm not a cat, I'm a lawyer, And anyway, so I said, Eric, Zoom is already the metaverse. If you think about it, like we're all over the world, there are people everywhere. There's, hundreds of millions of meetings a day where people can come on with these cameras and be anything they want to be, but we're a distributed world and people are kind of coming into this universe. It's like, you don't have to be there in person, and when Danny came up with this idea the other day, because of Twitter, now verifying PFPs, I immediately said, well, yeah, Danny, that's a great idea. I will open the door with Zoom. And so we're already in dialogue. But one of the things that I think would be really cool, like OnChainMonkey, we're new and, we got a lot of momentum, but I would love to see us align with a couple, like the Bored Apes, for example. So actually, if anyone on this community knows the folks at Bored Apes, I would love to loop them in a conversation that is happening kind of real time with Zoom right now. Because I think the Bored Apes community is such a special community, as are CryptoPunks and some of the others. But it'd be really cool to basically jointly spec out, this is what would need to happen to do verified Zoom backgrounds. So like if you had the original Bored Ape X, whatever the number is, and could have that be your Zoom background, and there's some sort of like a, authentication, like a check mark that isn't just like pasted on the background, but that comes through Zoom, either through a Zoom app or whatever it should be, which just means, and I think it should be pretty simple, right? It should be a way to register it on the blockchain, and it is already registered, a way for an app to kind of look that up, verify it, and then on the overlay on Zoom, just like they have the blur filter, if there's a verify filter that's like, it has to go through this verification process by looking it up on the chain. It should be pretty straightforward, but for people to be able to display their original, really valuable NFTs as their Zoom background would just be awesome. So again, anybody that knows anyone at Bored Apes or some of the other leading things, send them our way and I'll loop them in to the conversations we're having.
Thank you, Bill. That's great. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the first thing on our agenda for basically this week is we want to get our Discord server in order. We want to update our OnChainMonkey website, and then we'll be working on the projections thing in the SFA area with Louis, and this initiative with Zoom. So yeah, Amanda, anything?
Yeah, so exciting stuff, and thank you again for everyone who joined. I know people are in all different time zones, and we're just super appreciative for people who could join live. As you mentioned, there will be a recording of this that we will post on our Discord channel, and just want to remind everyone of our mission is really to empower communities to drive positive collective action in a low friction way. And as Danny mentioned before, our values are respect, and that really means for each other, for the community, integrity. Obviously, we're all real people here, not just anonymous, and all of our reputations are on the line. So we want to treat everyone with integrity here. Sustainability, and that started with what Danny did, his technical feat, but generally supporting sustainability and causes related to sustainability, and then experimentation, which you've already seen. I mean, we're trying to do some pretty interesting stuff, both in terms of community building, cause building, and basically incentivizing our OCM holders to contribute value to the collection and society, and basically having a rising tide, being able to lift all boats of this collection. So we're honored to have all of you join us. I see a lot of monkey profile pics. Thank you for doing that. We'll continue to follow those people that change their profile pic on Twitter. We just launched our Instagram channel like last night, so feel free to follow us there. And we'll take it to Discord from here if anyone has additional questions. Thank you for joining, and be on the lookout. Our next Twitter Spaces will have Luis Hoyos on, who'll be talking more about the projections that are coming up during COP26. So thank you, everyone, for your time. We appreciate it, and we'll see you on Discord.
Thank you, everyone. And this video, or sorry, not this video, but this audio Spaces is going to be recorded and will be posted online in our Discord, and also we'll put it up on a YouTube channel too.
Have a good day, everybody. Take care.